What's up, guys? This is Young Shy here, back to here today to give you guys another video. This time we're going to be doing it on the Chicago Bulls new president in charge of operation, which is Arturas Karnisovas, who's going to be now the new Bulls president. He came from the Nuggets GM spot. Basically, he's going to be the president there, coming in due time. As soon as the season ends, or whenever the season ends, due to the coronavirus outbreak. I hope you guys are very safe and sound as you are listening to this video. It's been a crucial outbreak and the pandemic has been going around, but luckily but not, we got this video here and we're going to give you all the news on Chicago Bulls. All the Chicago Bulls fans, be excited for this video that's going to be coming up, because today we're going to be talking about all of the possibilities that could be happening with the new president, what you may or may not know about him, and pretty much what we're going to talk about with the Chicago Bulls current situation, and how he may or may not fix it. And I'm just going to give you my opinion about it as well. So let's begin. Let's talk about this. If you're new to this channel, let me know. You can pretty much just hit that like button if you really like this video. If you really love the content that's up here, I know I didn't post in a long time, but if you really like the content that in general, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below, and let's begin with the Chicago Bulls video. Alright, so news came out about this around April 9th, when Adrian Wojnarowski pretty much said that Chicago Bulls pretty much hired or finalized a deal that will send Nuggets GM Arturas Karnisovas to be now the executive VP of basketball operation, and he's going to be basically looking over the organization as far as looking for a GM and basically preparing and reshaping the front office. Now, Adrian Wojnarowski, credit source right here, wouldn't lie, wouldn't tell, so regardless or not. So this means with the signing of Arturas Karnisovas, he pretty much takes over the role of the president and basically makes Foreman and Paxson, Garth Paxson and Foreman pretty much has to step down from their original spots as basically president and GM of the Chicago Bulls. Now Paxson is going to be moved up to now pretty much the advisor for the team, pretty much advising and helping Karnisovas pretty much bring in some talent, give him some ideas, and maybe lead into certain things. And Foreman now basically being down to more of an advising role as well, but also a scouting type role as well, since that is more of his department. He's basically going to do more scouting. So Karnisovas is pretty much going to be the head lead and everything. He's pretty much going to make some decisions. Well, the GM is obviously going to make some decisions for him, but he's going to be the more leading part of basically making decisions for the team. So, and good reason, he's made a lot of good decisions. Now, before we get into the decision making for Karnisovas, he is a very interesting man. I think a lot of people should know about him, especially the people that is Chicago Bulls fans, Chicago natives that's in here, that's watching the video. I think you should really get to know this man. So let's start with that first. So for those who don't know Arturas Karnisovas, he's pretty much the former GM for the Denver Nuggets. He was the GM for the Denver Nuggets from 2017 to pretty much 2020 with this postponed season that's happening right now, or canceled season that's happening right now. He used to be the scouting or director of scouting for the Houston Rockets from 2008 and to 2013. He started off as an international scout for the Rockets and worked his way up. But before even that, he worked as an NBA basketball operation officer from 2003 to 2008, but also with his front office management and skills and everything, and learning how to operate in the NBA. He was also a former basketball player. He used to play and born in Lithuania. He used to play for the Lithuanian national team, played against the United States Dream Team in 1992, and also won bronze in 1992 and 1996 respectively for his team. He also played college ball in the United States, being the first player to come from the Soviet Union, and pretty much played for Seton Hall and played for the renowned head coach PJ Clarkson, who had success in the NBA after coming from the college game himself. Now, it's a lot to know about this man, and I feel like it's very intriguing that he is basically, you know, come a long way. This man drafted a lot of good people from the Houston Rockets, drafted a lot of good people for the Denver Nuggets, and let's talk about that heading into this next segment. So from 2008 and on, Karnisovas has basically was becoming the international scout, or was the international scout, and was promoted to the director of scouting for the Houston Rockets around 2008 to 2013. So pretty much it from the Houston side of things. But let's talk about now his decision making when he officially arrived in the 2017 season with the Denver Nuggets. Now, for the Denver Nuggets and his decision making since then, again, and as I said, from the Houston Rockets thing, he was not pretty much controlling. He did influence some decisions from there, but from the Denver Nuggets standpoint, when he became GM, this man has basically made the Denver Nuggets what they are in today. And they was number 2 on the seeding last year, pretty much going into the playoffs, and had a pretty solid playoff run. Unfortunately, got cut short by the Portland Trailblazers, but this man made some very clever moves and just took some risks that basically paid off for him in the down run. So now for the Denver Nuggets decisions, pretty much he made a trade that will send Doug McDermott in 2014, made a trade that sent Doug McDermott the 11th pick of the draft, sending him for Jusuf Nurkic and Gary Harris. Jusuf Nurkic was the 16th pick, Gary Harris was the 19th pick. Now, this was a great trade, and I feel like it was robbed completely, because I mean, man, oh man, Jusuf Nurkic turned out to be a hell of a product. Basically, back to a basket player, can rebound, somewhat play some defense, rim protect for you as well, and he just had a lot of versatility to him. Another thing is Gary Harris, very good shooter coming out, and it also grown up to be a really good defender in the league so far, and is a valuable starter for the Denver Nuggets right now as it is. And only giving away Doug McDermott, who was the 11th pick of the draft, pretty much gave him away for pretty much being a journeyman as it is. And the only thing he was really good for is mostly just for his shooting and an ability to basically play 3 or 4 at any point in time. So this is a really great trade right there, and the Denver Nuggets really pulled off, especially those two. Of course, Nurkic gets traded, or pretty much goes on and goes to the Portland Trailblazers, but regardless or not, it was still a great finding for Karnisovas and his team. Now, another player that got basically taken up in the same draft, in the second round pick, and the 41st pick was Nikola Jokic, one of the best centers in the game right now as we speak. A lot of people question his fitness and athleticism, but again, since Karnisovas had a really good eye for international talent, he pretty much said, I'm taking my chance on Nikola Jokic. And what he did, he basically helped the Denver Nuggets, led them in points, led them in rebounds, led them in almost assists as well, and pretty much was really widely credited as one of the best centers, if not the best center from last year's season, and pretty much helped his team pretty much make it almost closely to the Western Conference Finals. And pretty much Karnisovas was widely credited with that find completely. Now, it's also been a misstep in some of the things that he did as well. Donovan Mitchell, pretty much getting traded 2017. Denver Nuggets possibly could have landed a very big superstar, and I think this is one of their weaknesses right now in terms of wing scoring. Now, they have Jamal Murray. I'm not discrediting Jamal Murray whatsoever. He's actually one of the bright spots in Karnisovas findings, but Donovan Mitchell could have been part of that group. The Donovan Mitchell trade in 2017, he's been selected in 13th pick, right, by the Denver Nuggets. He gets traded to Utah for Trey Lyles and the rights to Tyler London. Now, Trey Lyles is still a valuable role player to the team, but it just in general, when you really think about it, from a standpoint, Trey Lyles now moved on to San Antonio Spurs, and Tyler London, who's basically been in the Hornets G League, in and out, Nuggets G League, in and out, just pretty much just did not pan out. Donovan Mitchell, as you guys know, is a all-star and is basically one of the brightest talents in the NBA right now as we speak. Another good thing that Karnisovas did for the Denver Nuggets was acquiring Will Barton 2016, and as they was trading away Aaron Aflalo and Alonzo G to get back Will Barton who's a really good sixth man coming off the bench for the Denver Nuggets. Victor Claver, who's a solid role player for them during his time in the NBA. Thomas Robinson, who had a little bit of energy, he comes off the bench, give a little bit of energy, and that was pretty much it, but nothing really else to his game. And pretty much the lottery protected pick from 2016 from the Portland Trail Blazers, which actually turned out to be Malik Beasley, coming in from the 19th pick that year. And pretty much Malik Beasley panned out his game very well, becoming a solid role player for his team, can provide scoring off the bench, and also a really good three ball for him as well, and also a solid defender sometimes for the Denver Nuggets. Later on he gets traded, but regardless of that, it was still a valuable piece and valuable asset to the Denver Nuggets, and I really like that trade from Karnisovas as well. Another thing that happened was Michael Porter in 2018, the 14th pick. Now this one isn't a full thing that you can say like, hey, this really panned out for the good, but you show flashes. You can see Michael Porter actually can be a prodigy in this league and actually become a really good scorer in this league if pushed and if given some time, has shown from this season, especially in the early parts of the season. He also had involvement in the Clint Capella deal. He gained a collection of players, which is Shabazz Napier, Noah Vonleh, and Gerald Green. Gerald Green, of course, being out for the season. Noah Vonleh and Napier pretty much being solid players off the bench that can help and also add some depth to the team. I'm not even going to mention Jamal Murray, who's getting picked up in 2016, the 7th pick of that draft. And not only that, the 2nd round pick in 2017, and Monty Morris being the 51st pick of that draft as well. A great decision making from Karnisovas, and I really like what it may result to, especially going for the Chicago Bulls. But let's now talk about the Chicago Bulls mostly, and what's their situation currently going into this canceled season and possibly going to next season and even season from before that. And let's review what Karnisovas may have to do with this team. So for the Bulls situation, I will be going over pretty much the cap situation that is going with the Chicago Bulls due to the stoppage of the league so far. Otto Porter Jr. player option, sorry about that guys, determining whether to basically keep the head coach, which is Jim Boylan, and where to go as far as the GM goes. Does this roster work out the future of Levine? Should you extend Lauri Markkanen with his bad play so far? Should you keep Dunn? Should you keep Chris Dunn? Chris Dunn has been a really good player coming out and basically developed into a really nice defender for Chicago Bulls. Should you keep him? And what will be the 2020 draft picks since the season most likely postponed / canceled, and also Chicago just having a bad record? What should they go for? What should they build with another new player in their books so far? And pretty much what should be the original plans of what they should do. I'm going to be giving my opinions on that and what's going to be happening for the Chicago Bulls most likely. So let's get on to that. So for the Chicago Bulls, as I said, the cap situation is going to not really affect them that much, but kind of help them in their case, as they pretty much had a lot of money to basically go over with. Now, as you look at the cap situation with the Chicago Bulls, the only really big contract they have to really worry about is Otto Porter Jr. and pretty much a little bit of 1-year deals and 2-year deals with Thomas Satoransky and Thaddeus Young. Besides from those two, Otto Porter is the main target, and pretty much with his player option, which is basically a whopping, I believe, $28.6 million as far as the last and final year of his deal. He's most likely, and I say most likely, going to take that deal for the money that he's getting. And not only that, being a young player, he doesn't really have to say, hey, I'm going to a playoff team or whatever. He wants to develop. He wants to be where he wants to be. Now, unless something comes out with news that Otto Porter doesn't want to be there, he is going to take that money regardless, and Chicago is going to have to plan for that accordingly. And whether they want to keep him or not during this time or going into the future will be up to his play. Now, his injuries has not been very good to him. He's basically missed 51 out of the 65 games this season, and it's basically been an injury problem. But when he basically shined, he shined perfectly for the Chicago Bulls. And even from before then, being evaluated and being picked up from the Washington Wizards after having a career year from there, you can hope Otto Porter Jr. will basically become the player that he is, he was from the Washington Wizards, and basically help out this team in many ways from his shooting and also his ability to possibly score from the mid-range area and also driving in. Now, another thing that we need to determine on is pretty much how does this roster work? Is it going to be valuable enough going into the Eastern Conference for the coming years? Again, Chicago Bulls have one of the best assets in the NBA so far, best young player, best core in the NBA so far, with a lot of young players coming out of the core. We have names like Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr. You have Otto Porter Jr. You have Thomas Satoransky. You have a lot of players that you can play around with. Have a lot of players that you have a lot of assets to. And so if I even mention Antonio Blakeney and other players that's coming off the bench as well, it's a lot to play with, and it's a lot to basically manage. And I feel as though Karnisovas is going to do this team justice, especially having the best setup, I believe, in the NBA so far. And he's going to basically see if this roster will work. Now, he's a lot of good decisions and a lot of decisions that he has to make. Should he extend Zach LaVine's future? Does he believe Zach LaVine can basically become the star of this team and basically help out this team as far as the future goes? And do you think he can actually live up to his potential? And I feel as though LaVine can do that. His usage rating is perfect for the Chicago Bulls so far. LaVine development so far, his usage rating is career high. And usage rate so far in this season was 32%. He's still efficient as well, and his true shooting percentage is 56.8%, which is really great. The players surrounding LaVine, and it's basically him having to surround LaVine with good players, and I think that's going to be the issue. Chicago outscored 0.7 points per 100 possession with Porter on the floor with LaVine, and the team, regardless if it's negative or not, is still a low negative. 4.5 negative net rating with both Otto Porter and LaVine on the floor. LaVine is star potential, I believe, and I think they should keep him no matter what. He can provide scoring. He's a really good athletic player. He knows how to get to the spots and score. I feel as though the more work comes, he's going to be leading that team, and he's already shown that he has the clutch gene in him, hitting a bunch of clutch shots for the Chicago Bulls. Another player that we have to look out for, as has said, Wendell Carter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. Now, Lauri Markkanen is another story. He has not been playing well for the Chicago Bulls and also been injured a couple of times, especially for the Chicago Bulls. Lauri Markkanen usage rating has been down. It's been the lowest of his career, his young career so far, 21%. His defensive rebounding went down due to the loss of Robin Lopez. Robin Lopez went to the Milwaukee Bucks. And Markkanen's numbers just went down completely. He's just not finding a rhythm, not finding a groove whatsoever. And it's just been tough on him. Wendell Carter, on the other hand, has been terrific, but again, his injuries has been helping out. And not only that, he just still needs to develop. He's still a younger player, but it provides a lot of rim protection and also great defense as well, as he's able to switch on and pick and rolls and guard smaller defenders, guard smaller wing players, and basically keep up with them. And not only that, provide versatility as well on the offensive end, how he can shoot. Basically have to get in production and shooting that outside corner three, or maybe just threes in general, but otherwise than that, can provide a little bit of post game and also provide some mid-range shooting for his team. Now, there's a lot of, and another thing is too, Kobe White. As I said, Kobe White has been phenomenal for the Chicago Bulls. Had a little bit of drought in the beginning of the season, but man, oh man, this man has been a hot streak going into pretty much the 9 games that they last played. The man has been averaging almost 25 points per game and almost shooting nearly 40 to 50% three-point shooting for the Chicago Bulls. This man has been doing a lot as a rookie, and I feel it's going to be the biggest bright spots for the Chicago Bulls coming up, other from LaVine. and Wendell Carter Jr. And I feel as though Karnisovas is going to find or give this man or recommend a head coach to give this man some minutes, because he's been a solid production for off the bench for his team. But not only that, could be a potential player to develop in the given time for the Chicago Bulls. So now let's talk about Jim Boylen and his possible tenure as the head coach possibly in this league. And then we're going to talk about also the off-season moves that possibly could happen with some of these players that is going to be coming up. So it's whether to keep Jim Boylen is the biggest question. Should you keep Jim Boylen if you're Karnisovas? And the answer is maybe. And I feel maybe is the main reason. But again, with the locker room issues and everything that's going around the Chicago Bulls, even certain things being blurred out, certain things being happening during the locker room where they just do not like his coaching style, comparing from the days when he was coaching from Utah. He just doesn't have the younger, or I feel the modern day NBA type of head coaching, where he pretty much has his team, and it's been reported plenty of times where he doesn't have his team pretty much practicing he doesn't have his team pretty much taking short breaks. He's been practicing them very long, and it's taken a toll on the team. And you can see from the injuries and everything, it really kills the Bulls in terms of production, and it really kills the Bulls in terms of their durability when they get out to the floor. Pretty much the team has been looking pretty good, solid in terms of the defensive play as well. They're 25th in defensive rating. They're from last season, and basically move up from 25th defensive rating to 13th this season, looking pretty good, and pretty much shown some promises basically as a head coach to show like, hey, this team could be a really good defensive team if I really push them hard enough. But again, as I said, the locker room issues, the long practices, and decision making sometime during the game. He calls timeouts very late, as I heard, and pretty much shown from some footage from Bleacher Report, and also just as being passed around from media. Zach LaVine being frustrated, Wendell Carter Jr. being frustrated sometimes during his decision making, and the younger roster just seems as though they just do not like his method of coaching sometimes. Even though it sometimes produces, it just doesn't seem as though the college style play that Jim Boylen, or the hard, tough style, the old time style that Jim Boylen usually puts out there, is not really getting to the younger guys. Now, it's going to be hard to see what they can do from this point out, but we may have to see him fully evaluate with a healthy roster, or maybe see him with a more full roster in disposal for him. And I think Karnisovas has to make that decision when he does get that full roster, when he does have everybody healthy enough to basically play, and see how the team can go with his head coaching in due time. And I feel as though Karnisovas is going to keep him until maybe the 2021 season, where he's pretty much going to handpick a coach for his liking, and that could pretty much fit the system. Now, as you know, Karnisovas hired Mike Malone for the Denver Nuggets, and Mike Malone, I believe, is one of the best head coaches in the NBA so far, especially from coaching from the Charlotte Hornets, coaching from the Sacramento Kings, and not only that, going now to the Denver Nuggets. This man has been pretty good wherever he went, and I feel as though Karnisovas is going to find a head coach that is going to basically help him and lead him to a successful spot for the Chicago Bulls, given in due time, especially in the Eastern Conference, which is still, I believe, is the weaker conference from the two, from the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. Regardless or not, Karnisovas is going to have a tough decision with Boylen. I feel like Boylen stays a year, but after that, he is going to be ousted. But regardless or not, if he does stay for multiple years, it may or may not help out the Chicago Bulls. But again, that is up to Karnisovas' decision. But if I was him, I would basically take him out. For the future things for the Chicago Bulls team, and that's mostly determining whether you want to keep, as I said, Otto Porter's play option afterwards. It's going to be done 2021. Do you want to give him a new deal? Do you want to, make sure he's still a part of your future. If not, then you have to move on from him and basically look out for more free agents, which is going to be a very good free agent class, especially in the 2021 season coming up as well, which includes a lot of good names that's coming out of there as well. Another thing you have to look out is for LaVine's future. As I said, LaVine is going to be basically coming out of his contract, especially coming out the new contract as well. Do you want to keep him? Do you want to max him? Do you want to give him a max deal and basically give him things to pretty much say, hey, you're going to lead my franchise no matter what? Should you extend Lauri Markkanen? Should you extend him after his rookie deal? Is it something to really look after? Again, his play has been really down so far. Should he extend him? I feel as though Lauri Markkanen should be trade bait. I feel as though he should be traded or should be moved on for a potential good deal for incoming for the Chicago Bulls. If not moved on, he should at least be considered, not for a max, but at least should be considered for a possible 1-year deal, and where you try to trade him or just let him go completely after his rookie deal and look for something better, or keep drafting and keep improving from there. You have Chris Dunn. Should you keep Chris Dunn? I feel as though you have a point guard off the bench in Kobe White, and where you don't need to necessarily keep Chris Dunn. Now, Chris Dunn, I feel as though deserves a good deal. Nothing as far as a max deal, obviously, but something of a good deal. And if Chicago feels as though they want to keep his defensive prowess, why let him? I say keep him if you need him, because I feel as though that will be a good and valuable asset, especially going into trading, or if you just want to keep him for future references. He is a great defender that will help out, especially off the bench, and give some energy to the team, and also some valuable playmaking as well. You still need to develop a jump shot, but regardless of that, he will provide some energy. He will provide some scoring inside and still give his effort out there. I really like Chris Dunn. Basically has a player for the Chicago Bulls to possibly develop. If they want to release him, they release him, and they still have Kobe White coming in as the starter. Now, for the 2020 pick and the best available to draft or best available fit. Now, according to ESPN so far and going to this date so far, they have Obi Toppin basically to the Chicago Bulls. Now, as Obi Toppin, I feel as though if you're going to move on for Lauri Markkanen, you move on from him and basically get Obi Toppin in this draft. So far, they projected the Chicago Bulls, I think, 8th in the draft projections. Depending on where they land, I think Obi Toppin will be a perfect fit for them. Another person that I really like Chicago Bulls to go after is Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State. This man is really good in terms of basically playing defense. He basically gives what Chris Dunn gives, but a little bit more intentionally as far as scoring, and also has a really good jumper and pretty much can shoot from the 3-point line as efficient rate as well. I feel as though it'll be a more upgraded version of Chris Dunn, if anything, for the Chicago Bulls, and I feel that Tyrese Halliburton will be a really good player for the Chicago Bulls if they do land him, and be a versatile fit, especially with Zach LaVine, or if you want to give Kobe White more of the 6-man role, you can put Tyrese Halliburton and give him some minutes and continuously build the core from the ground up. Now, as I said, from the Chicago Bulls and Karnisovas, it's a lot of good decisions, a lot of good core that you can work with, but Karnisovas is going to be the guy that's going to be working, and I feel his track record will help the Chicago Bulls in this time of need. Again, with this and all that, Karnisovas is going to be the president, and with pretty much the people stepping down, a exciting new future for the Chicago Bulls, man. I'm really excited to see what they can do for next season, especially with a lot more time now to basically refocus, especially with this pandemic that's coming on, especially the stoppage of the league. Pretty much Karnisovas has a lot of decision making to go to, and it's going to be really exciting to see them basically put the plan in action, seeing the moves that come from this office, and possibly seeing the Chicago Bulls back to where they are, coming from that 2015 playoff appearance now looking to basically get somewhere into the Eastern Conference and get into the groove of things, and hopefully get back to that form where they have from Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler. Now, if you guys like this video, I know it's a very long video, but if you guys really love this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If anything, I'm going to be trying to post more as much as possible. I know it's again, as I said, a long video, but again, it's for everybody that was Chicago Bulls native or anything. We are going to do more videos, more breakdowns on anything NBA news related, and we're going to give more and more options to you guys during this pandemic outbreak and everything. And everybody, please stay safe, please stay in your homes, please practice the social distancing, and I will be out. This is Young Shot. I'm out. Peace out, everybody.